So in Dune Immortality, you might be quite intimidated by the Bene Tleilax board, the research board in particular. So many combinations and possibilities of how to approach this board. Don't fear, let me help break down this board and let the Bene Tleilax help you win your next game. So I'll first talk about some important points on the board. First of all, with the Bene Tleilax track. So you should only actually focus on the first 4, and the more I play, the less I actually get to the end of this track. The most important rewards actually is the early 2 rewards, which is early on intrigue and the point you get at 4 beetles. So the first point is very reachable by any strategy, and you should always try to get there. Okay. Most routes that you take will grant you at least 2 beetles, so you should try to cash in your other cubes to get the other 2 beetles, or get them some other way. What this amounts to, right, is actually you are not spending more than 4 cubes in buying Bene Tleilax cards. After that, sometimes they come up as relevant and sometimes they grant you points, but most of the time, 4 cubes is sufficient, and the rest of the cubes you are dumping in to either get beetles or to get troops. So the next key spot on this board actually is this space. This space where there's this innocent faction bump. This innocent faction bumps will be the result of a lot of misery for players. And why, you might ask? This space on board can lead to double and triple faction bumps, particularly due to shipping down. You can come down the shipping track, you can get a tech that get a bump, you can get the natural faction bump from the shipping track, and then you can get a third bump from here. This can lead to multiple surprise alliance deals. I think this happened a lot in the early stages of Dune Immortality. Less so now, I think people are more aware of it, but if you are first starting out, do be wary of this spot. Okay. The next important milestone, right, is the genetic marker, which is on the 4th column of the Bene Tleilax research track. There are points where you get either like 1 research marker or 2 research markers, and 2 is quite hard to get, and if you want to get there, you have to make a major commitment to get there. Some cards only become useful when you reach your first genetic marker, so especially this card, so Unnatural Reflex. So once you get it, this card becomes super powerful, but until you get there, it's a useless card in your deck. So before you actually play this card, you should try to reach this marker. And lastly, it is this early trash spot. So this early trash spot on the 3rd column, right, so 3 research icons, you can get here, and what this trash symbol does, right, is that if you're playing a deck with a lot of trash symbols, right, when you reach this spot, it powers up your deck significantly. The reason it does so is that when you trash more cards, right, trashing becomes even faster. So like trashing makes trashing faster. So if you have some ways to trash, look at this spot and consider it. So now I'll talk about routes. So the standard route actually is to just go down the track. So what this does is that for 3 researchers, you can actually get 2 beetles, right? And this 2 beetles is the cheapest way you can get 2 beetles and brings you the closest to the point. Okay, the other thing good about it, it brings you very near the faction bump spot. The next route that is important is this trashing route. So the trashing route, I'll talk about it all the way until you get to your 2nd beetle, which is 4 research icons. So you generally want to go this route when you have either very powerful cards in your deck or you have other cards that trash. As mentioned before, this card, Stitch Horror, whatever. Okay, this card. If you have this card, this is probably the route you want to go. And the last route you want to go probably is to go up. Going up is the fastest way to get to the genetic marker, and some cards only become good when you have the genetic marker, and the main card is this card, Unnatural Reflex. Okay, so Unnatural Reflex becomes very good when you reach the first genetic marker, but before that it is terrible. You might buy this card early and it might go through 1 rotation like being not powered up, and
deck might severely weaken your game, and sacrificing some of the other rewards to get here to power up this card might be worth it. Actually, the deck for Bene Tleilax deck is quite thin, so you actually will see this card pop up quite a fair bit. And if you do get this card, do consider this route. So what about the rest of the board, and why am I only talking about the first few steps? Well, to be honest, that's as much research you'll be doing as is important. What I mean is that your first few steps are the most important. Everything after that is quite granular, like you just take it one step at a time. Most of the time you're heading to the next beetle, or you're heading to the next faction bomb, and that's about it. Okay, you just see where's the nearest beetle and you kind of walk towards it. Okay, yeah, so it's a very natural progression through the rest of the board. But which route do I take the most often? This is the route I actually take the most often, or these two routes I take the most often, and depending on whether I need a faction bomb or I need another beetle to get the second Bene Tleilax point. Okay, so mostly is this route. This happens in about 80% of my games. There are some cases where I go the other routes, but majority of the time I go down. Maybe even staying just at the third column. So I hope this video helped. So don't think too far ahead. Just think about the first 3 or 4 researchers based on what strategy you are going for, based on the first few cards that you buy. So happy researching!